Any critic, any cheerleader can be called forth at any time through our thoughts. So I want you to just open your mind and be in a place of wonder and curiosity this morning as we listen to our speaker in a way that something wonderful happens within your own heart and mind. For we are always expanding and learning and growing if we're willing. So this morning, we are so privileged to have our own beloved Amber Guzman with us this morning to give the Sunday message. And one of the things I know about Amber is she is on this beautiful journey of blossoming into a service leader that is impeccable with her music, with her advice, with her loving presence. Amber comes to us as a native from Oakland. She's a wife, a mother, an Army veteran, and a licensed prayer practitioner. And here at the Center for Monterey, we are so privileged that she has been on our ecclesiastical team with us for a number of years. She enjoys working in the SBA loan department at Pinnacle Bank. She assists the tech team both here and at Monterey, both at her job and at Monterey CSL. And she also serves at the Spiritual Enlightenment and Truth Focus Ministry. She is one busy girl.
I guess so. Yeah.
She is a heart opener who expresses herself by singing with local bands, Shannon and the Night Divers, and also The Mix. You can find out where to catch her next at amberguzman.com. Please welcome our beloved Amber.
Yay! Thank you so much. Awesome. Thank you so much. I don't know what's in the air today. I can't stop crying. I'm just so happy to be here. Oh, my goodness. Getting here this morning was fun. I ran in the door and started singing right away. And I forgot my glasses and all the things that could have gone wrong, tried to go wrong. But as we know, it's okay. I brought my iPad too, so I could pull it up here and make it large. Thank you so much for all your support, everyone this morning. So wonderful to be here. So let's see, where to begin? There's so many things to talk about. Let's see. I guess we'll start by acknowledging Reverend Robert in his vacation. We love you, Reverend Robert. I hope you watch this later and give me some pointers. But wherever you are, we love you, we bless you, we thank God for you, as you like to say at the end of services. So we are excited that he'll be back next week. Next week we've got a potluck and a bring a friend. So hopefully these seats will be filled up with love and new people to co-create with. This month's theme for June, I'll just summarize it. So here it goes. It says, marginalized people worldwide have showed us what it means to live in color, persevering despite the challenges they face simply for being who they are. Being born with a different skin color, hair texture, gender expression, or sexual orientation can often come with an experience of oppression. This month, we've been invited to cast away the consciousness of exclusion and celebrate unity, diversity, and unique expression. So in honor of Pride, and that is for 2SLGBTQIA, and that 2S was new to me. It means two-spirit. So that, again, that's the two-spirit, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, or questioning, intersex, or asexual. All of those communities are being celebrated across the globe, and we are encouraged to show up for them in living color. And I wasn't familiar with the 2S, the two-sex two-spirit, rather, portion of that acronym. But even Ernest Holmes recognized it in the first edition, the unedited edition, back in 1926. He wrote, "There's also an intermediate sex, that is, one in which the two attributes seem to almost equally be balanced. The greatest men and women of the ages have belonged to this type, for it is a more complete balance between the two, which are really one." I love that this teaching embraces the identity and the essence of who we are as individuals, regardless of social and political commentaries. So In Living Color was a show back in the 1990s. I don't know if some of you remember it, but each month or each week of the month, we kind of studied different pieces relating to the show In Living Color. So the first week we talked about Do What You Want to Do, which is part of the refrain from the show's opening theme song, and it encourages us to embrace who we are, regardless of whether or not we're accepted for it. The following week, Reverend Robert brought us It's Never Too Late and It's Never Too Soon, which is also another line from the theme song in recognition of Juneteenth that was celebrated on June 19th and highlighted that it's never too late to heal from the it's never too late to heal from the global wounds of slavery and institutional racism. And this week, we took a pause for Father's Day, and this week we're back on theme, and the topic today is And We're Still Together. Now, I had to look this one up because Living Color was a long time ago. That show was a while. I mean, I watched it live when it was happening before the rerun started playing, but I had to go back and look. So this topic, And We're Still Together, was a catchphrase from one of the reoccurring skits. It was Mr. and Mrs. Brooks. And they would start off the sketch with somebody saying, "Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Brooks, you guys have been married for 50 years. I don't know how you do it, but it's a testament to your love. Thank you for the advice. You're so wonderful that you've stayed together this long." And then after the individual who thanked them would leave, Mr. and Mrs. Jones would go at it and they would play the dozens. They would talk bad about each other. They would bring each other down. It even got to a point where they would set booby traps that would actually kill the other person if they hadn't been just narrowly missed the axe or whatever flew by. I was gonna show a clip, but there wasn't even a clip that was politically correct enough in what they were saying back and forth that I could show. You just have to watch it on your own. But at the end of all that fussing and fighting, they'd be in a position where they'd be giving each other a chokehold, and someone would come in and they'd say, "And we're still together." You never know what's happening behind closed doors in someone else's marriage, in the relationships. You don't know the little details and the little conflicts that happen. But this talk is really highlighting that we can have difficult conversations. We can go at it with each other and still be together. So I forgot to say this, that there was a saying that I once heard that said, before marriage, opposites attract, and after marriage, opposites attack. I thought that was really cute. I don't know where I heard that, but I had to write that down. In chapter 3 of our textbook, The Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes writes, "There's one spirit, one mind, one substance, and that one is manifesting in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation." Imagine how the world might work and transform if we truly saw the divinity in each and every one of us. So we're celebrating both our unity and our diversity, recognizing the divine connection that requires vulnerability and the courage to support one another as we share our truths. While we may not agree, each challenge presents the opportunity to practice emotional regulation, heal our own trauma, and use our voices to advocate for ourselves and for others. Different definitions of unity may lead to conflict, but such conflict invites discussion, healing, and transformation. So when we feel frustrated with the pace of cultural evolution, find solace in Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s words. He said, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it always bends towards justice." So, Reverend Robert always gives 3 points, so I like to stick with the script. We've got 3 points to follow along today. We're going to talk about vulnerability, unconditional acceptance, and seeing God in everyone. So I looked up the word vulnerability just to make sure I had it right from Webster's. And one of the definitions is capable of being physically or emotionally wounded. And the other is open to attack or damage, assailable, being vulnerable to criticism. For many of us, vulnerability can be uncomfortable and challenging. Crying in the middle of your song is a very vulnerable place, but I felt very comfortable allowing those emotions to flow through me because of the space that you have created for me here at the Monterey Center for Spiritual Living. The main point about vulnerability is if we don't express our truths, we may distance ourselves from the divine and from each other. Powerful healing occurs when we have the courage to embrace vulnerability. Our intuition can guide us through initiating and participating in these difficult conversations. So, avoiding interactions with those who have hurt us or with whom we disagree can hinder our growth. But it's crucial to recognize that boundaries are also a form of vulnerability. You have to protect yourself from harm or abuse. That's not a sign of weakness. That's just a necessary step for maintaining well-being. Setting boundaries allows us to create a safe space where we can engage in meaningful dialogue without compromising the safety or our own dignity. Putting the safe space in place can lead and cultivate the security to move into the bold space of discussion that later leads to understanding. So we're moving from the safe space to the bold space. Our breath can also help us stay calm and remind us of the love within and ground us in the present moment, giving us the confidence to face uncomfortable conversations. It's important to be gentle with ourselves and show grace and patience as we trust that intuition to guide us through those conversations. And again, if we don't express our truths, we may distance ourselves from the divine in each other. Just like Mr. and Mrs. Brooks, we have to tell it like it is, even when it doesn't feel good. The second point is unconditional acceptance. While we can all agree that we need to love each other, we can also strive to practice unconditional love and acceptance. Those with intersectional marginalized identities often face challenges due to the lack of understanding and acceptance in many of the spaces they occupy. So it's essential for every one of us to educate ourselves in order to better support and connect with others. Engaging in those uncomfortable conversations is an opportunity for growth and evolution. So pay attention to when you feel uncomfortable. Lean into it a little bit. When we feel resistance to shifting our perspectives, we can choose to see it as an invitation for that personal development. My drill sergeant, when we were exercising in the Army, he used to say, pain is weakness leaving the body. You know? Push through it. Pain is weakness leaving the body. And even in the song that I sang last week, that Ricky Byers song, It All Fades Into God, she says, inside my pain is the seed of my strength. Strength comes from pain sometimes. I've learned to recognize that when I'm angry or uncomfortable. Sometimes people's words can sting and hurt me, but I gain freedom when I choose to remove the emotions from the situation. Most of the time, I'm recognizing as I continue to get practice with conflict that the emotions that well up in me or trigger me, as some people said, I had an experience with a weapon, So the word trigger triggers me. I don't like saying it triggers me because that triggers me. It makes me think of something that I don't want to think about. But when that strong emotion is triggered in me or comes out of me, I stop, I take a moment, I take a breath, and I try to remember. And if I can't do it at that time, after the situation has passed, I try to remember when I first felt that feeling. Maybe I was 5 or 6 years old when I first felt that. And I know that is what I need to deal with. What that person said is rarely what caused such strong emotions in me. I'm not a purple elephant, okay? I know I'm not a purple elephant. I know deep inside that your words are not something that I'm choosing to take on, and yet it still stings. My Aunt Krista used to tell me, what people think of you is none of your business. And I learned that again when I read a book called The 4 Agreements. It outlines 4 things that if everybody agreed to do those 4 things, could make the world a better place. The author, Don Miguel Ruiz, writes, "Nothing other people do is because of you. They do things because of their dream in their mind, which is completely different from your dream in your mind. Even direct personal insults have nothing to do with you. They come from the other person's agreements with themselves, their programming during domestication. Taking something personally is like taking someone else's emotional garbage and making it your own. If, however, you don't take anything personally, you are immune to their poison." I really like that quote. People can throw insults at me, but it's my choice to decide whether or not I want to pick them up. You don't have to pick up what they're throwing. And I lean into discomfort knowing that this moment can release the moment. In this moment, I don't know what I was trying to write here, but basically, this moment is a chance that I can step away from being defensive. When I am defensive, I'm building a fence. I'm blocking myself from you instead of co-creating with you and communing with you, trying to understand you. Reverend Robert always says, speak and listen to understand, not to give your own opinion, but listen with a different kind of ear to understand where the other person is coming from, even when their point of view doesn't coincide with your own. All right, we're down to the final part. Seeing God in everyone. We always say, namaste. The God in me sees the God in you. And I love that. The presence of love expresses through each one of us. This week, we are invited to recognize the divine essence within everyone we encounter. When we engage in disagreements, it's easy for us to focus and shift to our frustrations rather than acknowledging the spiritual nature of the person we're at odds with. What if we viewed every challenge as an opportunity to deepen our connection with each other? When we were younger and I was speaking in front of a crowd, they always used to tell me, just picture everybody in their underwear. And I'm doing it right now. I see you. But that idea creates a sense of community, and it allows me to feel less vulnerable when I see you being vulnerable. Does that make sense? When I perceive you as someone who's just as naked as I am up here on this stage all alone, then we have something in common, a common ground to build a foundation on. So helping us recognize the insecurity and vulnerability that everyone has, underneath it, we're all fundamentally the same. So many 2S LGBTQIA+ individuals have faced opposition and prejudice, including legislation that impacts their freedoms and rights. And despite these challenges, the community has shown remarkable solidarity and resilience. As Ernest Holm noted in the Sermon of the Sea at Asilomar, true strength comes from choosing to be for something, not against it. To those whom we disagree with, They offer us a chance to remember and embody this principle of seeing God in everyone, that principle of namaste, embracing the opportunity to engage with empathy and understanding. And this is a lot shorter than Reverend Robert's talks, but I'm done. Now it's just a call to action. We are invited to move beyond the concept of a safe space and embrace the creation of a dedicated, brave space for healing conversations. And it's not about my comfort, it's about engaging deeply and courageously with one another to foster that genuine understanding and connection. And we can do that in so many ways. So I did this last time I talked. I'm going to get your participation. I'm going to say we can, and I just want you to repeat we can. Then I'm going to say something. So let's practice. We can. We can. Good job. We can celebrate our unity and diversity at the same time. We can choose to be open and vulnerable. We can use boundaries to create the safe spaces that lead towards brave spaces. We can respectfully ask questions and make connections. We can read books about race to help us understand someone else's point of view. We can learn to recognize that uncomfortable conversations lead to healing. We can explore the world around us outside of our comfort zone. I got a lot of these. I was on a roll. We can create educational opportunities to deepen our understanding of inclusivity. We can imagine the person we are arguing with as the person who may be just as insecure and vulnerable as ourselves. We can learn about the history of Juneteenth, Pride, and the 2S LGBTQIA+ community. We can learn to see God in everyone. And finally, we can live together, work together, learn together, love together, and stay together. Because none of us are going anywhere. It's been many years of seeming conflict, but just like Mr. and Mrs. Brooks will say, and we're still together. So we have an affirmation, and I'd like us to say this affirmation 2 times together. I embrace the power of vulnerability and connection. One more time. I embrace the power of vulnerability and connection. A world that truly works for everyone begins with the collective effort, and it starts right here, right there. So let's do it. Let's go. We're going to go on a self-exploration. Let's take a moment to close our eyes while I give a treatment. Knowing that God is love, pure love, divine guidance, perfect, whole, complete energy. God is, love is, divine spirit is the first cause of everything, the divine source, like a golden thread that connects us one to another. And because I know that God is the only thing that's happening at one time, I unify myself with all those wonderful attributes, all those great, pure, and holy things I know that I too am. God is my life. God expresses itself through me as me. God is me right now. Breathing as me, speaking as me, loving, learning, arguing, and growing as me. How am I going to show up? That divine source pulsates through my veins, and I know that I am one with this life. So with that knowing, I affirm that I am vulnerable in the most beautiful way. I allow myself to expose and express discomfort, knowing that I am loving, lovable. And so is the person across from me. I know that there is nothing imperfect about my situation or any situation I find myself in, regardless of the discomfort. I know that I was created for each and every particular experience. I revel in the joy and the delight of this earthly experience, knowing that there is no spot where God is not, that each interaction is with the divine. I take each step on holy ground. I can live my own authentic self and allow others to do the same. And I am so thankful. I give thanks for this knowing. I give thanks for this opportunity to speak my truth as I have come to understand it. I am grateful for this teaching. I'm grateful for other teachings that have led me to where I am on my path towards God, towards the divine, towards a greater understanding. I'm thankful for our center, for the camaraderie, the love, the energy that we share together in this place that we call the Monterey Center for Spiritual Living, in this place where we work to create a safe space and have brave spaces so that we can have conversations that lead and encourage and continue to make a world that works for everybody. I release my word. I plant these words into a soil, the soil of the law, that law that only says yes to whatever I put into it. Whatever I want to see, whatever experiences I want to have, I put those thoughts, I speak my word into the law, knowing that it is done. And I just wait to see all its glory and all the joy that is yet to be revealed. I can feel that now, and I'm so grateful. And if any of this treatment, any of these words of affirmation resonate with you, I encourage you to say with me now, and so it is. Thank you so much. Yay!
So this is Pride Month, and one of the things that my intention for this whole month is to educate myself more on what all those letters mean and where I have gaps in my learning and education. So I'm hoping after church today, we would have bold, brave, authentic, intimate conversations that teach us more about what we don't know. Any rate, we have prayed together, we have meditated in silence, we have raised our voices in song, and now we're moving into another spiritual practice, which is giving from the generosity of your pocketbooks. In other words, the practical matter of church business and finances. It's the offering time. And what I would invite you to do is to think about when we give generously from our heart because we are spiritually nourished by this community and this transformative teaching, what we give is multiplied and blessed and comes back to us multiplied because it does, it works. But we don't give to get. We give generously because we are uplifted and inspired and listen to Spirit's call to be a greater version of ourselves. So please join me as we say together our abundance statement. I recognize the presence of God within as the source of my abundance. Out of my abundance consciousness flows everything I could desire in life. With gratitude and thanksgiving, I now participate in the flow of uninterrupted abundance. This prosperous experience is evidence of my abundance consciousness. So as Alex passes the basket here in the sanctuary, I would invite those virtually to consider donating via writing a check to the center at 400 West Franklin Street in Monterey, or donating online at our secure website, or texting to give with your phone, which is an alternative, easy way of sharing abundance. But I know that part of our experience in this community is this is a prosperous community of individuals. We have always been blessed with miracles and demonstrations that support this community and keep it alive and thriving. So I'd just like for you to dwell in that energy and consciousness, because we have always been provided for in one way or another with bequests, gifts, unexpected income flowing in different ways that we couldn't have planned for it. And I know that this teaching lives on through our entire worldwide organization. So I'd invite you also to consider supporting the larger organization through our home office in Colorado. So from there, I think we move into saying goodbye to our virtual community online. Join us next week with Reverend Robert back on the podium, wrapping up our theme for June in Living Color, and the talk title is Living Out and Loud. And I'd add, and proud. Yeah. So comment, gives us a thumbs up virtually, come back and visit us whenever your spirit moves you, for this is absolutely the right place at the right time to hear the words you need just in time.